another each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello. Good afternoon. I remember when I started this, I started using Restream and these other IOs, which let you just kind of stream to all these different places at once. I used to have to share everywhere, man. I would spend like 3, 4 minutes sharing it to all these different groups, to my own group. I used to have a Facebook group called Trudging Together, but I shut it down about, oh no, when did I shut that down? Right. I shut down the Trudging Together group 7, 8 months ago. And it hasn't made a darn bit of difference. It didn't change nothing. It was just dying. Who knew how many people were actually still sober in that group? I don't know. But yeah, I used to have to share this like 10 different places. All right. And I'd tell you something, it never really worked. It never really did anything. So it may have caught the attention of a few people that ended up watching me and stuff, but really it didn't do anything. So, good afternoon, Michelle. It is good to see you. Today we're talking about loneliness. I saw something by Carl Jung that I kind of wanted to that kind of made me think about this topic a little bit more. Um, you know, what is it that causes this loneliness in it? What is it that's going on? You know, so because what Carl Jung said kind of made sense, and let's remember it was also Carl Jung that kind of convinced Bill that choosing your own higher power was the way to go. That a spiritual method was needed. That came from Carl Jung and the Oxford group. All right, choosing your own higher power. But um, towards the end of Carl Jung's life, he reached out to Bill and stressed that spiritual feature. And he said, I would never put that in any of my writings because I would be condemned. See? And even to this day, there's a lot of stigma about using a spiritual method, but it seems to work best. Seems to work best. So let's get started. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I am your host. I am the Senor Host. All right. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. And of course, it's just going to cover, AI is going to cover the same thing. So let's cover the quote by Carl Jung first. That's what we're going to do first after we get rid of this. There we go. Switch this over to chat, and we are ready to go. All right. Carl Jung said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. That hit me. That hit me. It's often I say that I got tired of describing my loneliness to people. I got tired of it because when I did, I would tell people they would not understand or they would get it incorrect, and that would just make me feel more lonely. And there it is. It was because I was unable to communicate the things that seem important to me. When I'm able to get these things off my chest, when I'm able to talk about them freely, then my loneliness seems to vanish. How can we combine that with the AA program? Well, it's the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, man. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Life will mean something at last. is the opposite of the bedevilments. And even then, going into AA, you might still feel a bit lonely here and there. What is it that causes it? It's our deep need to be terminally unique. If we don't conform to the AA principles, we're still going to be lonely. All right. Hey, Daryl. Good to see you, brother. Daryl says, hey, I felt loneliness in a convention. I've been there with my first wife, and we got into a pretty bad argument the night before, and I came home and she wasn't there. She took off with her friend to the convention, just left me a note. Personally, I still find it very rude, but anyway. And I was planning on going to the convention too. Yeah. I ended up on the corner yelling at the sky. My dad came and picked me up, took me home. I went in, laid down on the bed, and I just crashed until the next day because I was emotionally spent. So yeah, I've felt loneliness in the AA program also when I feel like I don't belong, that people don't understand what it is that I'm going through. That's when the loneliness starts. It isn't lack of people. No. I could be, when I was drinking or even not drinking, depending on my attitude, we could have celebrate Dion Day at Mile High Stadium and fill up the stadium, and it could be all about Dion and and blah blah whatever, and I will still feel like the loneliest person in that place because if I don't feel understood, right, we can take that back to the third step. It is better to meet God alone than with somebody who might misunderstand. This is where loneliness kind of comes from, and it's a fear. It's a form of fear. Maybe your therapist doesn't even understand you. You know, Dale says what I discovered was a lack of self. Nah, you don't know who you are yet. Now, since we're already kind of tortured by loneliness, now we're gonna add alcohol to that. And what is alcohol going to do? Alcohol is going to exacerbate that. It's going to make it worse. This goes on to say loneliness is rarely about empty words or empty rooms. So loneliness is rarely about empty rooms. It's about carrying words you cannot say and truths you do not feel safe to share. Feeling unsafe in sharing. Put something a little political online, but it's more of an opinion. Watch what happens. You know, even with the recovery thing, I put out, I don't, if you want to complain about the money being taken in the recovery field, get out. We don't need you. We're doing just fine without the government money. Trust me. Okay. Fact is that they overspent on their state budget, and now they're pointing fingers at other people for something they clearly did, which was abuse of the system. And people want to write, yeah, but Medicaid's being cut off. It had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with what I was talking about. So you cannot speak your mind anymore without somebody being offended or jumping the gun or making decisions for you or telling you how you're supposed to feel. All right. Trans is the hot topic. Pride Month's over. They'll find something else. These are people that just feel like they're unheard. But don't turn around and tell me I don't know how it feels. Don't you dare. I may not understand it from a trans point of view, but if you think I do not understand loneliness, well, man, you are sorely mistaken. I know what it means to be put out, to be put aside because you're different, Do not talk to me about that or complain to me about it because I know what it's like. Now, if you want the solution to that, I'm happy to sit down and talk with you and let you know. But until you put your own shit aside, what does a lot of this come from? Terminal uniqueness. And it doesn't just happen with alcoholics. We alcoholics take it to an extreme, like everything else, but that is a human condition. This is one reason why, like men, they don't feel safe talking about stuff because a lot of times when they do, they get put down. I share my feelings a lot. Nobody gives me any shit. That's because I will cry about losing something or whatever, and then I'll turn around and put my foot up your fucking ass. You give me shit about it. I will. While I'm crying about that thing, I will put my foot up your ass. See, I needed boundaries. I needed to find my place. That wasn't easy, man. See, we got AA. What all these other people got? Do they have a safe hi Amber smoke crack on break? I Yeah, I know. I knew where it came from. I had written Amber and said lunch break or smoke break live. So that's why she's saying that. Because I did lunchtime live at her lunch. So, all right. So, Michelle says, I've been different all my life and I've just become used to it. I understand that. I get that. Daryl says, booze amplified my feeling of loneliness. Yes, it did. So I'd act out and drive people away, confirming my thoughts that I was alone. You know, yep. Alcohol exacerbates it, it makes it worse. Right. And then what's worse, and why is Daryl saying it that way? Because when we drink, it people are like it goes to the pleasure center. No, it goes to the reward center. When you drink, you are literally rewarding yourself of whatever behavior is going on. You're solidifying it with the alcohol. That's why alcohol exacerbates it, right? All right. Amber says they ain't got dick shit. Maybe they have a church and a therapist. And watching Dion is as addicting as smoking crack. You're on a roll, Amber. These are all jokes for anybody just listening. Oh, but that terminal uniqueness, thinking that we're the only people in the world that go, well, you don't understand. I've been hearing that a lot lately. You're not trans, you don't understand. You're not Hispanic. You're not an illegal immigrant. You don't understand. You're not this, you don't understand. And you're right, to a certain extent, I don't understand, but I understand the feelings, I understand the thoughts, and I understand the emotions because I've been there before. But when somebody tells me I don't understand or that not this, then what are they doing? They're doing the same thing that other people are doing to them. They're doing what Daryl was talking about. They're just driving me further away so that they can confirm to themselves that they are correct. And what is that? That is your brain doing what it's supposed to do. I'm lonely, and now I need to drive everybody away. Everybody in my life is leaving. Everyone in my life is leaving. Everyone in my life is leaving. Guess what's going to happen? These are intentions. And when you give your brain those intentions, it's going to do exactly that. That's what it'll do. Breaks down, Daryl says it breaks down my inhibitions and allowed my character defects to come out. Now we're back to the drunk horse thief. The only reason that horse thief is stealing horses is because alcohol lowered his inhibitions so he could start stealing horses. But the problem is he gets a thrill out of stealing the horses. It's just the alcohol exacerbates that. That is the whole point. See, we got to kind of get into these things a little bit more than just saying, well, that's like sobering up a drunk horse thief. Not everybody understands that. We've got to tell more. We got to be more. That's something in the corner of my eye. It's driving me nuts. I know it doesn't look like it, but I have these bushy eyebrows, man. All right. Doesn't help that half of them are gone from the only time I needed stitches right there. Lost it on the corner of I was 2 years old and I crawled underneath the coffee table, bit my dad's big toe, and he kicked up. I flipped around and knocked my, and I still own. In fact, it's a contention. Everybody in my family hates that coffee table except me. Except me. I don't know why. I think it brings up bad memories for them. But for me, like I was over at my sister's on Friday and Shannon said, "Oh, I love that it was some kind of cabinet or something." And and she's like, "Yeah, my dad gave me that as kind of a family heirloom that I never saw it before in my fucking life." Um, but that's why the table is so important to me because it's the only thing. It is the only thing, and I had to steal the damn thing. That is a family heirloom for me. And the coffee table's older than I am. It's like 60 years old. And it ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Amber says, I didn't know horses got drunk. No, that's a nay. that was a dad joke gone wrong. They make eyebrow pencils. Yes, they do. Do I look like a Hispanic girl to you? You think do you really think me having better eyebrows will help my cause? People just think I'm more serious if I have those like dark eyebrows. Oh, I didn't have to go very far. Ah, thank you to the inventor of the back scratcher. I'm sure they've been doing it with sticks for years. All right. Healing is learning to speak what matters most so you are no longer alone with it. This is the work of letting yourself be seen and known for who you really are. All right. So, how when my first anxiety attack happened, I was alone for a while, and then the loneliness started settling in because I wasn't able to get to AA meetings, and we weren't having them on Zoom yet. Okay. I have been kind of doing AA online since the mid 90s, but those are mostly chat rooms and things like that. Nowadays, chat rooms are just half the time they're full of shit. So joining Facebook groups, things like that, just wasn't quite cutting it because I go there and people be, let's just say it wasn't my cup of tea. I'll put it that way. I'm not gonna put down other people's recovery. Right. So what I did is I started going live. And now I've been doing it 7.5 years. This is what I would call an arena. This is my arena. It's all mine. Do other people come on and stuff here and there? Absolutely they do. Do people get to share their experience? Yes, they do, but it's where I learn. It's where I share things. It's where I cover things. This is Dion's release so he doesn't continue being lonely. I even had to explain it to my therapist. She's like, you go live a lot, huh? I'm like, yep. And she's like, don't you think you start doing things for yourself? And I said, that is for me. I do this for me. If it means that I'm helping somebody else out, great. That's actually the intent. But often the one person that I help out is me. The added benefit is I got 3 good friends here right now. And yes, you three, yeah, and I would consider all three. A fourth just added. Fourth person just showed up. That's okay. They're probably my friend too. Friend, oh friend. I don't know if everybody caught the video the other day where I played the David Grohl one. Yeah, that got cut very, very quickly. I wasn't even done with it before it was cut. But I knew it. I already knew it, right? Daryl says no one does anything without a payoff. What was my payoff? My my perceived payoff. That's a lot of P's in a row. My perceived payoff was me being to say "told you so" when people left or avoided me. Yeah, especially when you created it yourself. You know, right? So according to AI overview, loneliness originates from a perceived lack of social connection, even if there are people nearby. It is about the quality of relationships rather than just the quantity. And it's subjective experience influenced by individual needs and expectations. I'm going to tell you something. All those people with all those, well, I have 1 million followers. Some of the loneliest people in the world. They need those followers to continue feeling good about themselves. They have very, very low self esteem. And I know this because I used to do this when I was younger. The more friends I had, the more of this, more and more and more, more and more and more. If I have more of this, more of this, more of that, then I will be this person. No, it never worked out that way. I know a lot of people. I have a shit ton of acquaintances. I have very few friends. Oh, that's a good way to put it, Daryl. Yeah, the lives are a digital journaling. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, man. I like that. All right. Not just the quantity, and its subjective experience influenced by individual needs and expectations. Here's the thing: the more you rely on other people to be who you are in any situation is going to lead to loneliness. Do I still go through loneliness? Not as much as it is self-pity usually, but there are some times when I still feel estranged even from my friends, even though I'm quite close with them. It isn't that they are doing anything. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the things that Dion kind of goes through. Um, but loneliness can be torture. Misery doesn't always love company. Not always. That's not quite true. A lot of times when I'm in misery, I don't want anybody around me. I don't even want to see your fucking face. And it has nothing to do with you. I don't want to see anybody. My wife, she's the only one that when I'm like that, I don't mind her being around, but that's my wife. And she allows that for me. I have a very understanding wife. I can tell you right now, I would not even be close to where I am right now without Shannon. There's no way. And I wouldn't want it any other way either. So, mismatch between desired and actual social connections. Loneliness arises when there's a discrepancy between the social connection and a person's desire and what they actually have. Right. So, what do? We check our intentions, right? What do we do? If we're going somewhere, we go to our business as enthusiastically as we can. That's going to fight that loneliness, right? Uh, it's like this last Mother's Day, I tried something different. And instead of just going and hanging out with the family, I brought all my kids and all my grandkids. And then I did not feel separated from the family because everybody was enjoying it. Everyone was a part of it. So instead of trying to force myself to fit in, I just did something a little different. And that way I still got to be grandpa. I still got to be dad. Right. Amber, a lot of times she says when she goes to family functions, she's usually hanging out with the kids. And I'll tell you why we do that. Because we didn't have a chance to grow up. We didn't have a chance to be little kids. I didn't. I grew up in an alcoholic household. I was always doing chores and shit. Not saying that my parents didn't let me go play. I mean, it depended. If my parents were home, I was out playing. If my parents were not home, which was usually the case, I was watching the kids. Nobody asked me to do it. Nobody paid me to do it. I just did it. And you were probably the same way. They talk about the hero. The hero is usually gone. They're usually out doing school functions. They don't care about the rest of the family. They're out for themselves. Every single person that grows up in an alcoholic family is selfish. Anyway, this means you can feel lonely even when surrounded by others if those interactions don't meet your needs for connection and belonging, according to growth therapy. Fuck growth therapy. Who cares about that? All right. So, factors contributing to loneliness. There's social isolation, life changes. Ooh-wee. What is the number one thing that usually happens to a newcomer that comes in and is serious about the program? One of the first things they're going to talk about. Everybody I used to hang out with doesn't even talk to me anymore. That's usually it. Usually the first thing. They all disappeared. They all went away. A lot of times you don't even need to get rid of your old playmates and playthings. You just need not show up anymore. And within 2 weeks, they're going to forget that you even fucking existed. They're alcoholics. They might remember you. None of them ever called me. Nobody ever, in my sobriety, not one person has tried to make me drink. No, that hasn't happened. I'm not saying it doesn't. Moving, job changes, relationships ending, or the loss of a loved one can disrupt social connection. Mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, social anxiety can contribute to loneliness, right? It is about connection. It is about connection with people that are like you. That's where loneliness ends, right? You'll even find people in the program that are lonely. If you do not conform to the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, you'll find yourself lonely in the program because a lot of other people are conforming, right? And conforming is not necessarily a good word in our field. There's nothing wrong with conforming. It just kind of depends on what it is, right? If you see other people doing things like serving the coffee, running the meetings, hosting, co-hosting, running the timer, handing out chips, and you don't join in, eventually you will feel like you're not part of the group. That's why we are so big on people chairing in the grassroots meeting, because then it makes you feel like you belong in the group. It's kind of the point of chairing. That's why I made it really fucking easy to do. Right? We only require 30 days. And even then, some people at 2 weeks would probably be okay. But the one thing that we do, I've noticed, at least in grassroots, when somebody is chairing for the first time, we surround them. And when we are done, we praise them to all get out. Great job. You did good. And they are smiling and glowing. And they're like, I did it. Everybody here loves it. And guess what? They feel like they belong. And it was the service work. Yeah. So do your best to find your place. Okay. I searched for years for my home group. I couldn't find one. I tried and I tried and I tried. So I finally just started my own group, and it seemed to work for me. It seems to be working for other people, and that's good. Is it going to be for everybody? No, not really. We have more. We kind of have a different mentality there. You know, we're very we're very open to anybody coming in. You know, it's a closed meeting, but we will find a reason to say yes to help you out. All right. So, what is one of the best ways to get rid of the loneliness and be a part of the group? Service work. It's accountability. The more you're accountable, the more you're going to feel like you belong. Okay. Now, it doesn't need to be a popularity thing. No. In fact, popularity is kind of the opposite of this. It's just a, it's that's just ego. All right. It's ego. It's emotional sobriety. No, no. I go through it too. Sometimes I look at my numbers, you know, the like Podbean, I think my average right now is about 7, 8, 9 downloads a day. It was at 60. And you know, when it first happened, at first I'm like, well, that sucks. And you know, I wish more people, but it is what it is. There's some people out there that have so many followers that if 50 or 60 left, they wouldn't even notice. They would not notice. But I have noticed that the most popular people also tend to be the loneliest people. Right? That's where us Gen Xers were kind of fortunate. We had to learn how to entertain ourselves. And I think that helped us out a lot. I mean, I literally had to teach my grandchildren how to start using their imagination. They needed a dollhouse. I'm like, well, let's make one. We're going to use our imagination. Imagine like this is a room. Imagine this part is the kitchen. Imagine, you know, oh, once it started though, they didn't need me anymore. They made their own house right in their own head, man. It just took a little bit of effort. A little bit of effort. All right. So, connection is the opposite of loneliness. Okay. Not fellowship necessarily isn't it. I'm wrapping up too. Love you, bro. Love you, dude. But that's probably a good place to wrap this up at. So, all right. Well, I got 3 hours to do nothing till the meeting. So I might even be back again. Nah, I should probably I should get the rest of the pressure washer stuff done. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.